Hello, I'm Brandon Doyle, and this is my week 4 assignment 1 for Tools Labs for Sonoran Desert Institute. Today is September 20th, 2025. Let's get started. All right, and today we are going to detail strip the slide of the Smith & Wesson Shield Plus. Now, since the slide is the only thing I got to go on, we'll go down the line eventually with detail stripping the frame, but one step at a time. First, press the magazine. We're going to clear the firearm. As you see, there's nothing in the magazine and nothing in the chamber. Ammunition. And no ammunition anywhere in my work area. Now that that's done, let's begin. Alright, before we get started with the stripping process, I'm going to show you the tools I'll be using. We're going to be using this brass hammer to use this pin puncher, a 1/16 pin puncher. This is so you can get out the extractor right over here. You got to do it from the other side of the frame, but you'll see that later in the video. Next is a little screwdriver. There's not going to be any screws you're going to be unscrewing with the frame. Well, the frame, I'm not entirely sure. I can't do that yet. The slide, however, you're only going to need it to keep back one plastic piece. As you can see, a little magnetic bowl from Harbor Freight. Cheap, easy, and it will keep your stuff magnetically stuck to it. Best friend for a gunsmith. Little duct tape. This is so you can use for popping out them pins. If you don't have a tool that you can rest your firearm on, this is your best friend for cheap. Since we got it already on slide catch, we're going to flip up this little thing over here and field strip it. There we go. Frame. Got the recoil spring, barrel, and the slide. As down here. Slide, barrel, recoil spring, frame, and the magazine. And that ends the field stripping process. Alright, now what we're going to do to get this firing pin out is we're going to have to push down on this little bit of wet plastic right in front of this little hook over here. Now, it's not going to launch out after you remove the back plate over here because it is kept in by this little button right over here on this side. See that right there, right by the hook? Yeah. That is going to be our saving grace in terms of not losing the firing pin. But just because we know how to get it out doesn't mean it's not going to be a little annoying. If you're doing it correctly, if you're pushing it back in the right spot, this little back plate should slide out like that. And as you see, not going out flying. Now, you're going to push this, you're going to hold this forward, you're going to push that button. There we go. And it was released. There we go. Firing pin. Good condition. You can dismantle this pretty easily. Got to push down the spring over here, and then you can slip off this little plastic piece, and then bam. There's the spring. There's a little plastic piece keeping it in together. And here's the spot that you keep that plastic piece hooked underneath to keep that spring. And here are the other parts of it and keep it going together. Now that we got all the pieces here, I'm going to put them right on this magnet plate. The plastic pieces aren't going to stick, but unless something decides to throw this thing across the room, that's not going to happen. Now that we got that out of the way, we're going to remove the ejector. Now, right over here, we have to knock out that little pin that keeps this ejector out. It's going to have a couple springs attached. That's why we're going to use this tape. Keep it in place. Now, you need a 1/16 pin puncher. It says to wear goggles. There we go. Safety. All right. Make sure you're on there. All right. As you see, it's already starting to come out. Now you got to hold that spot because let me tell you, the little spring will go flying across the room. Don't take it from me. Take it from the guy that taught me. There we go. It popped right out. There's that little pin that holds the ejector. Oh, okay. Okay. Got that little spring that was keeping it in place on the frame. There we go. Right. So, let's see. We got the extractor over here. Now, be very, very careful. This spring apparently will go flying out of the room if you're not careful. Take these off because it's not necessary right now. Okay. Now, turn this over. There we go. Now, got that spring out. And here. It's a little two-piece. Now, this one wants to be pretty snug. Okay. So we'll keep it together that way. Now, as you can see, this frame has been has been sufficiently field stripped. Now we can clean it. I would suggest use pipe cleaners, but since I didn't have pipe cleaners, shame on me. I'm SOL, and I'm going to use these as well as some wipes. We'll come back to that after this. All right, time to put the extractor back together, and that way we will put the Smith & Wesson shield back together. All right, put it back in. Now, push this little spring in there. Now, here we go. Hook it in like that to make sure we got it in there. First, all right, there, magnetic. Make sure that we're hooking this. There we go. All right, now that we got that extractor over there, it's time to put the little pin back up top. Put it on this. There we go. One little tap more. There we go. Nice and uniform. Now, time to put the firing pin back together. First you want a little spring on here first. Then this, so it can go back on for the back plate. There we go. Want to make sure it's at a certain angle. Now that that's on like that, put the spring. Now we're going to use this tape roll. We're going to be very careful to make sure that this spring doesn't go flying across the room. There we go. Back together. Now, gotta place it back inside its little housing. Now this won't go in completely because you gotta press that little button to allow it to get back in there. There we go. Now it's locked into place. Now you just need to do what we did before and make sure you can push back a little plastic piece, take the foil plate, and put it back in, slide it in like that. Bing, bang, boom. It's back in. Now we're going to put the chamber back in like that. Recoil spring. Take the frame. And ammunition. Works well. All right. Well, that is it. Thank you for watching. Sorry it couldn't have been more informative. Get into the frame eventually when I can. I don't want to break the firearm, so that's it for now. And with that, thank you again for watching, and take care.